The person on the bus very confidently introduced himself as Zan Hu, director of the new city police, took office. Surely when he heard that, the police officer would forgive him. Whoever this bad guy still seriously demands to be judged and then give him a penalty. When he found out about it, the old man in charge of treatment was very pig-faced. If he hadn't been bullied, he would have punished him as a reward. The man who warns of storms and tries to measure them is a saint of deception. I got kicked from the criminal room to the prison room but still had the same symptoms. After checking the city's situation, he discovered that there had been 5 bank cases recently. After trying to scare the victims into buying bribes, the orders were placed farther and farther away in the city center. If you settle with this herd, come March to buy flowers that will bloom next year. The city will be outside the banking coverage area. Transgression of the Communist Party's unpromising order caused the people to be surprised. The criminal department generals continue to think of all kinds of reasons for leaving leftovers, from overcrowded population to high income, and then peeling fruit. The leak promised that it wouldn't come out again, but there was a phone call that reported a new bank deal. By chance, I saw the scene of a policeman's secret practice. After scaring this order, he came up with an idea. He immediately held a press conference announcing the organization of a joint meeting at the banking level. The special thing is that there will not be a predetermined scenario, but they will react according to every unexpected situation that arises. All police officers in the department will randomly participate in different roles such as customer, superiors, arresting police officers, etc., and everyone must do their best in their role, including the role of the superior. Specifically, this episode will be broadcast live on TV for people to observe and evaluate. This is the afternoon for Zan Hu to PA for yourself and regain people's respect. The leaders of the banks in the capital city told their employees about this practice, but everyone was relieved because they thought it was just like many other times being a customer. Xian called the Do man and his private room and assumed that he was a corrupt agent that he deliberately kept to give to him. He chose this role for him because he felt that his stubborn personality was very suitable for the role of a superior. Sep will cooperate. Du man wants to refuse, but Xian Ho is still determined to announce these cases to him. Du man carefully asked if he needed to be arrested according to any scenario, but the boss very confidently told him to just focus on doing well and let him take care of the capture and rescue. Zan Hu has its strengths and cannot be played like a joke, so that the joker must act as if it were real. True to his wishes, Du man is extremely serious about his role. The guy spent the morning reading books, watching movies, researching banking cities, preparing his tools, practicing survival, navigating the terrain, and then trying to climb up the hill to look like a fairy. He was very serious and led his family's basket as if he was about to leave the school, but the whole family didn't care. That day finally came. All the police received a text message announcing the start of the exercise. At the number 1 convenience bank, although this is the role of a police officer collecting fees, the smoking gun and license plate plays the role of a normal customer. Du man coldly appeared wearing a long robe and a jackfruit mask. He walked up to the dealer and held out a savings number with information that had been obtained from the dealer. Just calculate, don't get carried away, just spend $10 at this age. The translator Dahi immediately raised the alarm, and Du man took out a new number. Don't look anymore. If you spend all your money, you'll need to be miserable when you're old, but you'll never see the end. Dong Dike came closer and looked at Du man, looking around him, as if he had seen each other somewhere before. Without saying a word, Du man coldly went down to the floor and started looking at her. What the heck, is this guy going crazy? Wow. It turns out it's just a fantasy. Thunderstorm is still alive, but according to the detective, his character is dead. Dongda wondered why he was shot, then Du man said he had seen the guy's body down. But fading like a real fairy song, Du man spoke out of anger and tears for everyone to step out and then put on each person a blinded sign. The bank employees were still very nervous at this time. They still thought this was just a normal routine. I thought I had finished fading and was about to leave, but Du man forced me to lie down on the ground and pile up a few dead leaves. Conflict and Attraction retorted that if Do Man was the only one, then the song could be given to everyone. Do Man explained that tinhcam had used his clothes to rape and seduce everyone else, then attacked himself with the tools he took from his body. If we run out of house renovation, the house fee will be flat like that. In just a few minutes, 5 police officers landed in large numbers like Yuan v. Kien troops outside the bank. A group of reporters also gathered to report on this interesting event. The reporter Chongmi of Vo Tin National Television passed by the crowd in front of the bank and sensed something was going on here, so she told the cameraman to run back and record. The impulse was to call Do Man security to slow down a bit because the television station was not yet present. The team would arrive in about 30 minutes, but he was confident he would capture Do Man before then. As soon as he gave the order to the police, he saw Do Man pull down the door and be captured by all the security cameras. Impulse turned into a sweet intention to tell the man not to close the door to let the hostage police in. Hee, what a stupid robber, Chan Yu. Do Man politely replied to his boss, a real rescuer would definitely do that, and from now on I won't talk directly anymore. You will start to feel confused. Do Man confiscated all the hostages' phones and watches, explaining that if they knew the time, they would come out and do stupid things. The aunt was so tired that she was tired and wanted to finish the rehearsal early. The mighty Do Man came to give her some very dramatic burials and then gave her a sign that she had fainted. Now it's quiet. Do Man told the hostages that this was not a normal drill and that he would act like a real robber, so everyone should understand and be mentally alert. Thunderstorm suddenly rose up and took down Do Man's property. He said he was wearing a bulletproof vest so he didn't die. The hostages were enjoying themselves when a young boy stood up to speak. Do you have bulletproof paint on your head? The translator was also very supportive. I saw that too. Dong still tried his best, but when he got angry and went into Anning Sam's surveillance camera room, the fat guy had no choice but to escape. Waiting for the infamous Special Forces officer to appear, he deceitfully introduced himself as a philanthropist and brought along the family's conspirator, who had just studied in the US to negotiate with the criminals. According to the story, the police are not allowed to use force until negotiations fail. When the song was released, some people said it might be false and controversial because she might have been the champion of Yusu. In the queue, Dong Man tried to play Cindy Viet Sin, and Dong Man said that the robber would not have accepted it, but instead he took off the obstructed sign and took her to the toilet. Unexpectedly, as soon as he turned away, the bucket kicked and hit him. Being suddenly attacked like Dong Man was very skillful. He was also a boxing champion, but that's no mean feat. Who will win if you take the first life back to you coin? That's right, the one who takes the lead will win. Dong Man coldly hunts down the police officer's belly. Coconut Girl is better than Han lying on the dike with a dead sign. Thinking that the hostages were too comfortable, they thought of a way to protest. Dong Man forced them to resign. Of course, everyone tried to protest, but in the end, only the pregnant woman was taken care of first. When Dong Li's mother called the phone, Dong Man woke up and announced that her son had died suddenly while on duty. The old woman immediately resigned herself and fainted on the scene. The sales negotiator began to speak with Microsoft. This guy had a severe throat infection, so he spoke like a eunuch, coughing as he spoke, making everyone unable to hold back their laughter. The negotiation was considered a failure, but Thunderstorm found another way to get into the bank. Since it was already cold, it was difficult to contain the love from the back door and prepare to raid the epidemic room. But everything was in Dong Man's calculations. He ordered the bank director to slap the ventilation system in difficult situations, causing the soldiers to immediately gasp for air. Dong Man told the exact time and then opened the door when the whole group looked like they were about to die. If I had opened the door in another minute or two, you guys would have fallen asleep downstairs. All 5 police officers who were currently given the organ sign were dead and had to go out. It was late, but the police still reported the robber, while the reporters led the way back to the parade. This unique event was even posted to a national news conference for the whole country to watch. The police in my city are very sympathetic but also incompetent. In the queue, the goblins were busy and Dong Man was also bored and stressed when having to deal with the talkative goblins and the police bosses out there. The ant is angry at Dong Man and wants to leave. He still thinks that he will let her go alone as long as he wants. AI's already buried in the grave but still not at peace. This time we have to be stronger. You just lie down and scream on the ground without saying a word. Does anyone understand what's going on? Miss, your face sounds like it's in pain and the sign is steamed separately. Dong Man's friend and colleague of Dong Man's office. Gung Tae said Dong Man is a polite and kind person but very stubborn. He was originally a criminal police officer, but due to investigating a corruption case of the mayor, he was transferred to the Star Pine police team. The elves were bored so they laid out enough to pass the time, so Zia would hang out and play with cards. The pregnant girl had just become excited because she had won a match when her wife yelled at her. Pulse Me interviewed Gung Tae, Dong Man's friend and colleague. Gung Tae said Dong Man is a polite and kind person but very stubborn. He was originally a criminal police officer, but due to investigating a corruption case of the mayor, he was transferred to the Star Pine police team. The elves were bored so they laid out enough to pass the time, so Zia would hang out and play with cards. The pregnant girl had just become excited because she had won a match when her wife yelled at her. Dong Man had to ask for help from a temporary stop sign, then there was a door to take the pregnant woman to the hospital. Dong Man chose a cameraman from a national television company as a hostage to replace the pregnant woman and had to bring a camera in, because including the country's unborn child, he had already released 2 hostages. She's a bird, Dong Man explained. The cross had caused more concern than expected, but the city police were making efforts to ensure people's safety by mining. Ernest born next to Mchur image, Menin right first. No one would like this to be the red hole of the episode because his mother was too calm and not at all in tears. If she were the mother of the real rescuer, she would have shed tears. If my mother had cried, I might have given up. It was impossible to secure the roof, so he asked the police to go up to the roof of the cars and send a Cebus